Hello everybody, welcome to Flak Panzer's channel, and in this video we're going to be going over the generals and their badges. When you start to get multiple generals, you're going to start to want to diversify your account in their specific roles on the map. When you run the Jeep assault teams and the APC assault teams on the map, you're going to want to run them on your generals. Why? Well, for instance, the first thing you're going to want to have on your generals that have badges is going to be the Battlefield Commander badge. This badge gives you an extra 15% morale, which in turn makes the assault team have 115 morale points instead of 100. This gives this particular assault team the ability to attack the same city or extra cities along the way instead of having to wait for morale to come back into the assault team. The idea behind it being that you'll run out of the 90 men and the 30 jeeps before the morale gets to 24 morale points. As you know, 24 morale points or lower, this will break the assault team, causing the assault team to surrender. So you want to use up the men before you get to 24 morale points. When you start out with 115 morale points, that gives you an extra incentive to send the assault teams back into battles more often. The other badge that I recommend is the logistics badge. This particular badge gives you 20% more movement speed on the battlefield. So because the Jeep assault team moves at a speed of 1.6, now it's going to give it a speed of 1.7 or 0.8. I'm not sure, I haven't done the math. This gives the same speed roughly about what the motorized guard gets, so you're pretty much equaling the speeds. The APC unit gets about 1.6-ish or so that gives it a pretty good movement speed on the battlefield. The next thing that you're going to want to do for your tankers, as an example, let me get a tanker general. And tank generals, you're going to want to run the Charismatic Leader badge. Now, the reason you want to run Charismatic Leader badge is because this gives your assault team 15% morale recovery when it gets to the gold section. And the reason you want to run this and not the Battlefield Commander badge is because this particular tank assault team, as an example, only has 10 tanks and 12 tankers. If I run out of either the tanks or the tankers, the assault team goes back up to 100% when I have to deploy back at a major capital. So what's the point of getting 115 morale points when, if the assault team gets used up completely, then I go back to 100% anyway? On the other hand, if I do use the assault team and let's say half the unit was used in the battlefield and I end up getting, let's say I lost and I use 20 morale points out of it, I'd rather get the unit back up to 100% as far as tankers and tanks by hitting the reinforce button and getting the tanks come to me than having to start from the major capital again and doing it again. It just saves you time. Plus, at the same time, I may not send the tanks in a second time in that same battle, at least not maybe these tanks in that same battle, so I'd rather have morale recovery and get the unit back up to 100% faster than using extra morale. So that's the reason you want to run the Charismatic Leader badge. Now, the Charismatic Leader badge, you can receive it even as a general. The Battlefield Commander badge and the Logistics badge, you have to do it in FPS by doing certain things that it requires. Battlefield Commander requires you to get on the cap and kill while on the cap, getting yourself rating kills. Logistics requires you to drive somebody in your car or bike until you get to rank level 12, and that gives you the Logistics badge. Now, you can run these badges on your infantry or tank crew if you want, as an example, but I would only recommend that if, as an example, you don't play tanker. So if you're not a tanker and you never plan on playing tanker, then use the charismatic leader badge on this particular character, and you can play it as a charismatic leader badge. I do recommend getting logistics, and getting logistics is a little bit more difficult for tankers because driving your tank and having somebody hop on the back of your tank does not count as logistics. You're actually going to physically have to do a different strategy to get to that. And I will go over that in a different video. You could do it for recons as well. You can put these badges on your recons. I don't, because I actually particularly do play my recons. So you can run these badges on recons if you don't play recon. This concludes, I believe, let me go back. Also, if you plan on using these badges for a pilot or paratrooper, considering that planes are not linked to the map, meaning that they go from one airfield to the other airfield or another airfield, or they go from the airfield to the attacking city, logistics does not count. It's not considered on the map, so it does not count towards their speed. It may affect it a little bit, but it's not affecting it to the point where you're going to see a significant change. With planes, I recommend using Battlefield Charismatic Leader badge because you want more morale going back into that assault team as fast as possible. If you take multiple losses on the battlefield, but not a lot of losses out of the assault team, you want to be able to get that extra morale back into that assault team. If you're running paratroopers does affect the logistics badge, so be careful if you plan on doing parabombs with the assault team. I recommend just running charismatic leader badge and no logistics, maybe even charismatic leader and battlefield commander. That's an option, just so that you don't affect your paratrooper movement speed when you do a parabomb or you do a paradrop on something. You want to have no logistics on that. This concludes the video for what badges you should run on your generals. If you have any questions, come visit me at twitch.tv/flak_panzer and ask your questions away. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one, everybody.